All right, it's never a dull moment in the Trump era. We have a lot to talk about today. So we're going to start with Donald Trump's, I actually consider it kind of shocking betrayal of Ukraine just because of how blatant and obvious it was. We all kind of expected it, but not just so out in the open. We'll get into that shortly. But also today we're going to talk about the pretty much everything that Doge has cut, agencies, what kind of workers, and all of that. And we're going to debunk some of the lies and misinformation that Trump and Elon have been spreading about Social Security. So be on the lookout for those today as well. But let's start with this whole Ukraine thing. So we're going to start with Donald Trump's Truth Social post about Zelenskyy, and this was just this was just so out of the blue to me, and it just, wow. We'll read it and react. So, and this is from Truth Social itself. Think of it. A modestly successful comedian, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, talked to the United States of America into spending $350 billion. That's a lie. To go into a war that could be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the US and Trump, will never be able to settle. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed, while the United States will get nothing back. Why didn't sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization in that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us? We have a big, beautiful ocean as separation. On top of this, Zelenskyy admits that half of the money we sent to him is missing. He refuses to have elections, is very low in Ukrainian polls, also false, and the only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle. A dictator without elections, Zelenskyy better move fast or he is not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia, something I'll admit only Trump and the Trump administration can do. Stay humble, brother. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelenskyy probably wants to keep the gravy train going. I love Ukraine, but Zelenskyy has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions have unnecessarily died. And so it continues. Wow. This dude has like a one conversation with Vladimir Putin, and damn, he's regurgitating Putin's talking points. How gullible and naive is this dude? It's crazy. So I want to look up something real quick. How much money has the United States sent to Ukraine as of 2025? The United States has provided approximately $183 billion in assistance to Ukraine. This includes $130.1 billion in obligated funds and $86.7 billion dispersed as of September. The aid, okay. And then it just goes down here, and I didn't even ask that. I didn't even ask that, bro, and it just called out. It's like, yeah, Donald Trump's a fucking liar. This is ChatGPT. I like using ChatGPT because this is their tool. This is their thing. AI, Project Stargate, Sam, whatever the fuck his name. This is all their shit. Wow. You can't make this up. Look, I didn't. Okay. Let's watch this video of a speech that Trump just gave, and then we'll continue talking about this.
I have the power to end this war. And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal.
Yeah, so this dude starts a peace conference with Vladimir Putin and doesn't even invite the Zelenskyy or the Ukrainian delegation. This is their country, dog. What are you talking about? He could have ended this he's had 3 years to end this. What are you talking about? What has What could Zelensky have done aside from roll over and let Vladimir Putin perform a fucking 1800 style takeover, imperialistic takeover of a country? Or you want him to give up land and appease Putin? Yeah, let's see how appeasement works. Go read about the 30s and 40s and tell me how appeasement works. Go look at Crimea in 2014. Okay, I'm done.
Any message for Ukrainians who, after 3 years of fighting, might feel betrayed or disappointed at not having a seat at these initial talks in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think I'm really disappointed in what's happened. I've been watching this for 3 years. It's a war that would have never happened if I was president, and I've been watching these people being killed at levels that you've rarely seen, not even close, since the Second World War. I hear that they're upset about not having a seat. Well, they've had a seat for 3 years,
What
and
do
a
you
long
mean?
time before that. This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago. When they're worried about not being seated, you mean somebody that should have gone in and made a deal a long time ago? You could have made a deal. This is one that could have made a deal. There was no talk of this during the Trump administration.
Yeah, by make a deal, what do you think? You know how you end this war? It's the most simple thing in the world. Putin leaves. He goes back to, Russia and stops invading Ukraine. Well, if Mexico invaded the U.S., would you say, all right, the U.S. should surrender so we can prevent lots of death and stuff? What are you talking about? His idea of making a deal is giving up Ukrainian land to Russia and completely indulging on Putin's land grab. It's disgusting. Okay, we're going to get into an article from the BBC here in a second, fact-checking some more of those claims, including the polling and stuff. But, so, back in 2016 or whatever, all the Trump is a Russian puppet and all that, Russia. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought a lot of liberals were just, trying to find a boogeyman and blame anything but themselves for why they lost in 2016 and the Russian interference and all that. And Trump did take a lot of hardline stances against Russia in his first term. So all this Russia puppet, I was like, what are you guys talking about? It's not that deep. All right, I've completely flipped, dude. I think this is just Vladimir Putin wearing Trump's skin. This is crazy. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but pair this up with everything. He just had one conversation with Vladimir Putin and he completely flipped on Ukraine. At least he was kind of giving signals oh yeah, we're going to put more tariffs on Russia and Russia's afraid of the US and they better leave Ukraine. And then one conversation with Putin and he completely flips. Completely. And starts using his talking points that Volodymyr Zelenskyy started this war. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're crazy. You're actually insane. So pair that with Trump just on the daily threatening NATO, our European allies. They're threatening other allies of ours around the world, like Mexico, Canada. I think they're NATO too, but just in our region, Colombia. These are U.S. allies that we are just isolating and ruining our relationships with, while Trump will talk about Xi, Putin, fucking Kim Jong-un, and he gives them praise as being strong leaders. And he has better diplomacy and says better things about those people than any Western leader. Any of them. Save maybe Erdogan from Turkey and whatever that fucking dipshit of Hungary is, save from them. But everyone else, true Western democratic leaders, he just shits all over them. It's crazy. And how does no one see this? And then let's look at some of the things he's doing to our national security. He literally appointed Tulsi Gabbard, who's a Russian fucking spy, basically, at this point, as our director of intelligence. And He's ending our soft power around the world via getting rid of U.S. aid. He's threatening like pulling us out of Europe. So even our hard power around, and cutting agencies that are responsible for cybersecurity, cutting workers who are responsible for like maintaining our nuclear warheads. Like, I don't know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's getting tough. It's getting tough, all right? Like, I just feel like this is all at the behest of Putin now. And the list just keeps adding and adding and adding. Look at J.D. Vance going to Europe and lecturing him that Russia's not your enemy, China's not your enemy. Actually, it's wokeness. Wokeness is your enemy. You need to go back to your values, your European heritage and values, like aka imperialism or Nazism if you're Germany, fascism. Like what? These people are crazy, man. Okay, let's get into this article by the BBC. So, fact-checking Trump claims about war in Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump has appeared to accuse Ukraine of being responsible for the war with Russia in a flurry of claims from his Mar-a-Lago mansion in Florida. Speaking to reporters, Trump also made claims about President Volodymyr Zelensky's popularity and observed that Ukraine had yet to hold a scheduled elections. Yeah. Okay, we went over those. So let's break down each claim. Zelensky is a dictator without elections. So, I mean, yeah, this is true in a sense. So let's read it first. Trump initially drew attention to the fact that Ukraine has not held a presidential election since 2019, when Zelensky, previously a comedian with no political base, swept to power. He repeated the claims in a Truth Social post in which he accused Ukrainian leader of being a dictator without elections. Zelensky's first 5-year term of office was due to come to an end in May 2024. However, Ukraine has been under martial law since the Russian invasion in February 2022, which means elections are suspended. Ukraine's martial laws were drafted in 2015, shortly after Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula, and years before Zelensky and his Servant of the People Party came to power. Independent observers from the OSCE said the 2019 election had been competitive and fundamental freedoms were generally respected. Zelensky won 73% of the vote in the second round off. Zelensky has vowed to hold a new election once the conflict ends and has yet to confirm that he intends to stand. Some experts have observed that the holding elections in Ukraine before conflict ends would be practically impossible, as Russian attacks on many cities persist and millions of citizens are displaced abroad or living under Russian occupation. Trump's intervention on the subject came just hours after the Kremlin questioned Zelensky's legitimacy as his term in office has ended, a claim Moscow has repeatedly made in the past months. On January 28th, Russia President Vladimir Putin called Zelensky illegitimate in an interview with Russian media. Like I said, Trump's just one conversation, and he's just vomiting Putin's talking points. Referring to the electoral situation, Trump appeared aware that has been a frequent Russian allegation used to undermine Zelensky, saying in his news conference, "That's not a Russian thing. That's something coming from me, from other countries." For his part, Zelensky has previously said it would be absolutely irresponsible to throw the topic of elections in the middle of a conflict. 100% true, dude. You think if the U.S. got invaded by another superpower, that Donald Trump wasn't empowered, you think he would be holding elections? How do you hold a free and fair election when your country is being invaded? When every other day there's air sirens going off because Russians are bombing residential areas in your city again? Crazy. I hate to say it, but he's down at a 4% approval rating. This is my favorite one. Trump claimed it was 4% approval for Zelensky. President Trump also claimed that Zelensky's approval rating has fallen to 4%. It's unclear what source the president was citing, as he didn't provide evidence. We've asked the White House to clarify this. Official polling is limited, and it is extremely difficult to carry out accurate surveys during a time of war. Millions of Ukrainians have fled, and Russia has occupied around a fifth of the country. However, some polling has been possible to carry out by telephone. A survey conducted this month found that 57% of Ukrainians said that they trusted the president, according to the Ukraine-based Kiev International Institute of Sociology. However, that was down from 77% at the end of 2023 and 90% in 2022, suggesting that the president has suffered a drop-off in his popularity. Some other polls suggest Zelenskyy trailing his nearest rival, former army chief Volodymyr Zelenskyy, I don't know how to pronounce that, whatever that dude's name is, in the first round of any future election, indicating the two would face each other in a runoff. In the wake of Trump's comments, some Russian media outlets seized on the claim and cited a poll carried out by Ukrainian MP and Zelenskyy critic, that guy, on Telegram, which they claim backed up Trump's assessment. Dubinsky has been charged with treason to Ukraine and accused of operating at the behest of Russian intelligence, which he denies. Okay. So, yeah, it's 57%. And it has fallen from 90%, but that's a far cry away from 4%. So just another lie. Claim you should have never started it. I don't even feel like I need to read this. Like, they didn't start the war. You should have never started it. So it was they who started the war in 2014. Our goal is to stop this war, and we didn't. Yeah, okay. And we did not start this war in 2022. Russian Vladmir Putin told the U.S. talk show host Tucker Carlson. Ukraine didn't start the war. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, having annexed Crimea in 2014. So tell me where Ukraine started this war. All right, they literally lost a chunk of their territory in 2014 and basically had to go, all right, yeah, that's fine. And then in February 2022, when the most recent conflict broke out, Russia came full scale across the fucking border and straight into Kyiv, and crazy. But no, it's Zelenskyy. It's the Ukrainians who started it. Give me a fucking break. All right, we don't need to read the rest of that. That's just obvious if you know, like, just even the surface level of this. Like, obviously, Russia annexed a part of Ukraine in 2014, and obviously, Russia invaded Ukraine in February of 2022. So, yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know it's might stir up some heat, basically saying Trump's a Putin puppet, but I get it, man. I used to think it was ridiculous, but like now, I think it's ridiculous if you don't think that. Like, crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.